Hey guys, welcome back to this week's episode of Investor Intelligence. It's your weekly podcast for all things investment, brought to you by the team at the Property Mentors. My name is Phoebe Sikowski-Wallace. I am your host, and with me once again, because he just lives and breathes anything investment, is our property/investment expert, Luke Harris. How are you, Luke?
G'day, Phoebe. How are you?
Good, thank you. Now, this is our third episode, and in our last two episodes, we covered some of the basics. We covered the 3 types of readiness, and we covered the types of investors there are. Today, we're going to talk about something that we cannot stress enough here, which is to always have a solid plan in place when it comes to investing. And here at the Property Mentors, we guide our members to follow a roadmap of sorts. Now, this is not to be mistaken for a magical step-by-step recipe. Luke, I'm sure over your 20 plus years of experience that you've been asked more than a few times what that one secret recipe for successful investing is. Am I right or am I right?
Well, yeah, absolutely. A lot of people are looking for actually a secret ingredient. I think that's the challenge, is that there is no silver bullet or no secret ingredient.
Wow, even more specific. So yeah, even though there is no such thing as that one magical recipe or ingredient, there is a structure that you can follow. And Luke, one of the main things that you've done working with members is create a roadmap to success that over the years you've refined and defined, which has proven time and time again to lead to high rates of investing success. So Luke, what can you tell me about this roadmap and why is it so important to follow a plan?
Look, I think the key thing really with any end goal that you're trying to achieve, any destination, is you're going to need a roadmap. Imagine jumping in the car, from Sydney and saying, I want to head to Perth, and you just get in the car and go. You don't look at any of the signs, you don't have a plan, you don't know where you're going, you don't know how long it's going to take. And of course, you don't know whether your vehicle's up to a scratch and whether you've got enough fuel. That's not the smartest way of driving to Perth, is it? The same thing with your investing is that you need to make sure that you've got a plan and a roadmap so that you know what direction you're headed and you know what things could come up along the way so that you can address those things before you even start the journey. It's like, any long journey, you're going to get your car serviced, you're going to check the tires, the fuel, the oil, all of the things that you're going to need. That's assuming you're not driving an electric car, of course. Then you just check the battery power. But, that's the thing. You need to get prepared. It's the same thing that you do on any long journey. Investing is a long journey as well. So obviously when you're getting started or getting to the next stage of your investing, you need to make sure that you're ready, prepared, and you have that roadmap so that you know what direction you're headed.
Yeah, and I think the beauty of having this solid roadmap is that no matter how your journey goes, you have something to sort of get you back on track. You sort of know where you're always going.
Well, the thing that I've worked out over the years is that a lot of people, they have that rough idea of where they're headed. They want to go out there and build wealth through property or any other investment. They want to make lots of money, but it's identifying specifically what that end result looks like. If you're just saying you want to go on a road trip, that's a great start. But unless you know where you want to go, it's going to be really hard to navigate. Which way do you go? Where, what sort of equipment do we need? How long are we going away for? And that's the same thing with investing. So we relate it back to investing so that people can understand that really basic analogy is if you're going on a trip, well, you need to know what to pack, how long you're going for, and what direction to take. But the way that I always look at this and refer to it as a roadmap is that you're essentially looking for a GPS. You're looking for guidance along the way. And the reason we've called it our success roadmap is that we need people to understand that there is multiple steps on the journey that we need to take. And of course, without knowing those steps and without doing them in the right order, that can cause issues down the track. So we've mapped it out so that people know that they're still the driver, they're still in control. And really our role here is we're just the GPS. Now, a lot of people, as they go driving on a journey, sometimes they might turn the GPS off. They might just ignore the GPS for a little while. They might just turn it off entirely. But our role really is to sort of help you to recalibrate if you do go off course. And at the end of the day, you still make those decisions. But by knowing the critical points in the roadmap, it helps you to really put some structure around your investing.
Yeah, fantastic. Now, within this roadmap, which again is not a magical recipe, are 8 proven steps to build a long-term investment portfolio. Now, these steps are align, clarify, plan, team, action, observe, review, and repeat. And although everyone's plans and strategies will be unique to them, the benefit of this roadmap is that the path you take remains clear. So, Luke, if I am starting out in my investment journey, which I am, and if I were coming to you, where would we begin? What would this roadmap look like for me?
Absolutely. Look, the starting point is always to align yourself. So we need to make sure that we understand your starting position. So that's aligning your goals to your financial position, making sure that we have a good alignment of really where you want to go, where you're at right now, and also how you got to where you're at right now. So when any investor's getting started, or they may have 1 or 2 or 3 properties already, how did you get to that point? We need to understand how you make financial decisions. And not only do we need to understand, but you need to understand, how do you make financial decisions? How do you actually make a decision to buy a new car? How do you make a decision to buy an investment property? What are your money habits? And what we need to do is align those things to the long-term plan, because unless we know how you behave with money, then it's going to be very hard to make changes if they're needed. And most people have, at some level, bad spending habits. I was very much like this. I was very much out of control with my money, even though I was investing. I was making a lot of money in my early 20s and spent a lot of money in my early 20s. If anyone looks at the photos of the cars that I had over the years, I wasted a lot of money on cars. Still do. But I think the key thing is to get that alignment so that you actually understand how you behave around money. And that's the very first and one of the most important steps, is to align yourself with that.
Okay, fantastic. So we've evaluated the alignment of my spending, my money habits, and my long-term goals. What's the next step?
Well, the next step really is to clarify why you're investing. What are you actually trying to achieve through your investing? And this is really part of the goal setting side of things. So there's a bit of a link between the align and the clarify stages, because obviously we need to align yourself with where you're at right now and how you got to where you're at right now. But we also need to make sure that there's an alignment between expectations around investing. If you don't want to change any of your money habits, if you don't want to get out of your comfort zone a little bit, you want to retire in 2 years with a multi-million-dollar portfolio, but you don't want to change any of your money habits, we need to make sure that that's in alignment. Otherwise, the plan's not going to work. So after we've clarified that, we need to clarify what the goals are and how we can actually put steps in place to achieve it. So the clarify stage is to clarify how comfortable you are to get out of your comfort zone. It's a clarification and understanding of the alignment stage as well, but also getting very clear on what the goals are, because we can't put a plan in place unless we know specifically what you're trying to achieve. And as people might have heard me say before, is that really having those goals there is the most important thing. Nobody's going to go out there and take risks with investing, or get out of their comfort zone, or put money into investments when they could spend it now, if they don't have that really clear goal and that really clear end vision mapped out. Because obviously investing takes time. It can have some risk attached to it. If it didn't have any risk, it would be just like putting the money in the bank. But all investing carries some level of risk. So people aren't going to get out of their comfort zone unless they're very clear and they've clarified exactly why they're doing it. And that's really one of the key things that we do here at the Property Mentors, is to help people get that clarity and get that understanding of why we're doing this. Why do you get up every day and go to work? Why do you get up every day and look at investments? Why do you listen to podcasts about investing? Right? It's because you're trying to achieve a certain thing. So let's get very clear on what it is that we're trying to achieve through this investing.
So speaking of goals, what are some of the common dreams or long-term goals that people have when you are at this stage with them?
If somebody was coming to us completely green, they'd never invested before, typically what we hear is that they want to retire and have all of their bills paid, right? And that's basically the starting position. There's not much more thought that's usually gone into that. And the other thing that we often hear from people that have understand a little bit about property investing is, I want 10 properties in 10 years and I want $100,000 passive income. For some reason, people have seen that on a magazine somewhere or seen it online, and they've got this idea that that's the magic bullet. For me, a lot of people, when we look at their situation, they don't need 10 properties. Not everyone needs to have 10 properties, and $100,000 a year may not be what you actually need. So people have a rough idea of what direction they want to go, and that's a really good start. We really encourage people to start somewhere. But of course, we want to help to really narrow down what that actually looks like.
Fabulous. So we've established my dreams and my goals. What comes next?
Well, the next thing after we've got the alignment and the clarity on what we're doing, we need to put the plan in place. Now, we're not talking about a financial plan. We want to be very clear that this is not a financial plan. This is a plan of attack, right? This is how we're going to buy property and how we're going to help to achieve those goals over time. As we've said a number of times, is that property is a long-term investment. This is not a get-rich-quick scheme. It certainly isn't going to be something where we're looking to make a quick buck. With everything that we do here at the Property Mentors, it's a long-term, sustainable wealth creation approach. Certainly not something that we're looking to make a quick dollar. We're not looking to flip properties and renovate in 3 months and flip them and make money. There's a lot of people doing those sorts of things, but at the end of the day, it's long-term sustainable wealth that really helps people for the long term. So the plan really is around how we're going to get you to achieve those goals. Now, the thing with goal setting is that people say to me, look, I don't want to set goals because, in 5 years' time, I don't know what I'm going to be able to achieve, or my situation might change. Of course it will. That's the point, is that we need to have a direction that where we're going to go. Like if we were driving from Sydney to Perth, we might say, hey, let's go there. But halfway, we might say, you know what, let's stop in Adelaide. We might stop in Adelaide for a little while. We might stop in Albany. We might stop in Kalgoorlie. There's a number of things that might come up and change along the way that we weren't expecting. And that is going to happen because that's what life is all about. There's going to be things, and we all know that something's going to happen in our life in the next little while that's going to change our plans potentially. So what we need is a starting point, and we can adjust the GPS coordinates at any point in time. And that's the idea of having a plan, is you need a starting plan. And having a 500-page manual that you put on the shelf that we sit down and do, stick it on the shelf, and you follow it to the letter for 5 years, it doesn't work that way. So the plan really is a plan today, knowing that the plan tomorrow, the plan next month, the next year might change. But this is why we have this roadmap process, so that we can keep reassessing and reviewing the plan over time.
Yeah, I think it's always good to have a solid goal, but you can also be flexible with how you get there, which I think is quite important for sort of any goal. But so you're saying you would kind of break down your longer term goals into maybe smaller milestones?
Absolutely. So you need your big long-term goals, you need your medium-term and your short-term goals. But the cool thing about this is that they're your goals. You get to change them if you want to. Nobody's going to tell you have to do those things. If you will reassess your goals. The goals that I set 10 or 15 years ago are very different from the goals that I've set for myself now.
I'm sure, yeah.
The goals that I set 2 years ago are different because, of course, you don't know what the future holds. You don't know what your financial position and your work position and your investments, how they're all going to be performing. So all we can do is make assumptions and then keep reassessing. I think the challenge for most investors is if they're not actually following a process, they're going out there and essentially winging it. And I was doing that myself through the first 10 years of my investing. I didn't follow any process. I was just reading everything I could, listening to everything I could, and going out there and trying to make it all work. And it did work. But if I was following a system that's proven to work, and I followed principles that are known to work and doing things in the right order and having the right people around me, that's really what's going to help you to really fast track your success. It's not that it's going to get you a get rich quick type result, but it's certainly going to help you to stick to a process that's already proven to work.
If you wanted to get fit or start a fitness program, you wouldn't run a marathon if you hadn't yet mastered jogging. You also wouldn't begin weight training by lifting 30-kilo dumbbells. There are, of course, multiple ways to keep fit through a variety of sports and exercise programs. However, there is a process to getting into shape and achieving peak performance. It's the same when it comes to investing in property. You need to start by doing some self-assessment of where you are now to where you'd like to be. This would be your fitness test. You have to find your team of experts who will help you along the way. These would be your trainers. And learn how other people invest, including the mistakes they've made. Only then can you start to look at how you will achieve your property investing goals. Property Fit assists you with all of this. It's the latest book from experienced property investor, entrepreneur, and founder and CEO of the Property Mentors, Luke Harris. It's the book that will guide you through the groundwork you need to cover before you start investing, exploring all the ways to invest in property by helping you find a strategy that will lead to the ultimate goal of financial freedom. Property Fit is your easy-to-read, practical book including mentor tips and mindset insights, as well as proven strategies that seasoned investors or those just starting out in property will find invaluable. Visit propertyfitbook.com.au to purchase your copy and get your property portfolio in shape for financial freedom. Now, we touched on a little bit about this last week. So the next step is team. What does that entail?
The team really is about having that expert group of people around you to help you get that result. And we did touch on this last week, and we were talking about how you don't want to be an expert accountant, you don't want to be an expert financial planner or mortgage broker, because you're not going to have time to do all of those things. So having a team of people around you is that you're going to have to lean on those people at times. You're going to lean on your mortgage broker. You're going to lean on your accountant for tax advice. You're going to lean on your financial planner to make sure all of your insurances and so forth are up to date, because you can't do it all on your own. And I wanted to do it all on my own. I knew that I needed experts, but I still wanted to be in control of everything. As the investor, you still are in control, but you are going to have that expert team of people around you. You absolutely are going to need them. And the good part about having an expert team around you is that they are the experts in that field, but they will be able to advise you. And the more you learn, the better questions you'll be able to ask of them. And a good advisor should be teaching you along the way. So a good property mentor, like our team at the Property Mentors, will be teaching you along the way, but also teaching you what questions to ask your mortgage broker, what questions to ask your accountant, because we're in the trenches every day. We do this all day, every day, and we know what situations can come up. If you're self-employed, there's specific questions you need to ask your accountant, specific questions to ask your financial planner, your mortgage broker. So we have those questions already. If you don't know what questions to ask your experts, they may never give you the answers because you're simply not asking them. They can't read your mind. So again, having that team of experts around you can help fast track your results and make sure that you're not making decisions that could affect you into the future, which means potentially getting the wrong loans or setting up the wrong structures or any number of things that you might do wrong. But if you ask the right questions, then of course having that team of people around you can really save you who knows how much, tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars by asking the question. The other thing as well about having a team, a lot of people understand that they need a team, but how do you assemble a team? How do you put a team of people together? And I think the key thing here is that we work with a team of people that we've worked with for many years. I use them personally myself. We know them and work with them because they're good at what they do. And the good thing about having a team of people, Phoebe, if I told you needed to get all of your experts in a room, what would you say?
Where do I find them?
Where do I find them? Okay, here's a list of experts. Get them all in the room. What would happen next? You call them up, get them all in the room, then what?
Well, I feel like this is where I would ask them questions, but I don't think I would know what to ask them.
Yeah, essentially what I'm getting at is that, okay, you get all your experts in a room, but the thing is that you actually don't necessarily know what questions to ask, do you? They're all experts in their own field. They might be the best people in the country, but what they're going to do is they're going to turn around and say, Phoebe, you've got us all in a room. Now what? What would you like us to do? And then your response will be, well, help me build wealth.
Yeah.
And then the next thing you'll say is, how do we start? Where do we do that? So the thing is, if you don't know what steps to take to begin with, you might have the best advisors in the room, but unless they know what the plan and what the strategy is, they can't advise you.
Right.
Because each of those people are specialists in their own field. The mortgage broker will say, yes, we can get you some money. The accountant will say, this is how we can get the best out of your tax situation. The financial planner might say, well, here's the insurances that will protect you. But you need to have that mentor and that advisor there that specializes in property to understand how we're going to build this thing. And this is the key thing, is that our role here as a property mentor is to actually teach you what questions to ask your advisors. Most people, when you talk to them, they understand the benefit of having all of their advisors in a room together. But when we ask investors, how many people have ever had all of their investors in the same room together, or in this environment on a video call together? How many people have ever had all of their advisors together at the same time? And 99 times out of 100, people say, no, I've never done that. They see the importance of it, but they've never done it. And the reason why most investors, they see the importance of having their advisors together to get them all on the same page with their long-term goals. But the reason most investors don't do that is because they don't want to be the dumbest person in the room.
Yeah, right.
They don't want to be the one that says, hey, I want you guys to help me build wealth. And then they always turn around and say, well, how? What would you like us to do? Right? I'm a mortgage broker. I can help you get loans. Hey, I'm an accountant. I can help to do your tax. But without knowing what the plan is, they're going to sit there and only specialize in what they do. So the point of having that expert team is also making sure that your property mentor is there by your side to help you ask the right questions of your expert team so that you can get the right results. The good part about that is by being involved with this is you're going to learn the process. And of course, over time, as you ask better questions, you're going to start getting better answers, aren't you?
Of course.
When you start getting better answers, what are you likely to see in your portfolio?
Better results.
Absolutely. And that's the point, is having that expert team of people is also an education piece for our members so that they actually understand what they're doing. A lot of this might seem scary to some people. I don't want to have all of these people around me that are experienced, but at the end of the day, to become a better property investor, you're going to have to learn a little bit about finance, learn a little bit about accounting, like we covered last week. And I think that's fun because as you're learning, you're growing. And as you're growing, your portfolio should be growing as well.
Yeah, and you can see why the first 3 steps are in that order before you get to this one. It really is becoming clear now. And yeah, as you said, investing's really not a solo sport. You can see why you need that team of experts behind you. And we will be making a more in-depth episode about the people that you would need in your trusted team of experts for different areas. So we've discussed my dreams and long-term goals. We've clarified where I am now in terms of income and maybe assets and skill set. We've broken down my long-term goals into smaller milestones. And let's say I've sourced my team of experts to guide me. What's next?
Okay, well, the next thing we need to do is take some action, okay? Because, again, if we've got the expert team of people around, we've got the goals, we've got the gas in the tank, so to speak, we're ready to go, nothing happens unless something happens. So the next thing we need to do is take some action. And, of course, in our roadmap plan, once we've got the team of people, we've got all of the tools in our toolkit. We've got the goals, we've got the team of people, we're fueled up, ready to go. We need to do something with that. Now, taking action means getting out of our comfort zones, because often that's going to be doing something that we haven't done before, or maybe we've done it before and it didn't work last time. And that's because maybe we didn't have the right team. We didn't have the goals and the plan. We didn't have that alignment and clarity. So this time, once we've done all of those things, it should be a lot more comfortable to take action. Now, it is sometimes the most uncomfortable part of this process because it means that you've got to do something that you might be a little bit scared about, a little bit concerned about. Some people are happy to go all guns blazing and no issues. But other people, when it comes to taking action, they're still a little bit reserved. And this is where we go back to the educational and the emotional readiness. So if we're not ready to take action just yet, this is the point in the roadmap where we need to spend a bit more time on the educational readiness, spend a bit more time on the emotional readiness, and cover off those things before we take action. Now, if we're comfortable that we've got the educational readiness, the emotional readiness, and the financial readiness, then and only then will we take action. And that means going out there and doing something. It means taking some steps to invest and going through the process of securing an investment, looking at the numbers on a property, looking at the research and the due diligence, and making sure that we understand how that property or how that investment fits in with the long-term goals. So this is part of the jigsaw puzzle, essentially.
Yeah, and taking action doesn't just mean you purchase right away. It can just mean you might undertake a savings plan.
Absolutely. So yes, absolutely. This does not mean that you're just going to rush out there and buy something. This is not something that happens straight away. For some people, they might be ready to buy something in a week or two after they've got their team assembled. For some people, it might be many months or even longer before they go out there and take action. But the next step in the process is to take action. So there might still be some processes to go through. They might need to save up some money. They might need to do that. But essentially by doing that, going onto a savings plan, spending a little bit less on food delivery apps, spending a little bit less on, takeaway coffee and smashed avocado, as everyone keeps talking about. Those little steps are steps towards that goal. And that means you have taken action. It doesn't necessarily mean that you go out there and invest straight away, but it does get you one step closer to doing that.
I feel personally attacked by the avocado comment, but anyway, no, I'm just kidding.
I love smashed avocado.
So do I. Okay, so the next step is observe. Talk to me about observe.
Absolutely. So look, once we've taken action, of course, we need to observe what we've done. We need to observe the process that we went through, how we actually made those decisions. Like we did when we aligned right at the start, we looked at what are your money habits, how you spend money, how you save money, what you do with your money. And the observe step in the roadmap really is that we're going to observe the things that happened after you took action. And it's not just looking at the financial results and not just looking at the numbers, but we're going to observe how you felt as an investor. We're going to observe how you felt emotionally, because that takes a big toll on a lot of people. Investing can be a stressful time. It can be a stressful time waiting for finance to get approved, waiting for a tenant to get approved to go into the property, getting your tax return, signing mortgages. That can be a stressful time for some people. And of course, we want to observe that entire process so that we understand what you actually have gone through as an investor. If you didn't have a good time and you didn't enjoy part of that process, you're not likely to repeat it, are you? So to become a long-term investor, this is the point where we need to observe what happened, talk about it, and essentially get on the same page with what happened when you took action. How did you feel? Because getting out of your comfort zone, it's uncomfortable. So when we observe it, we get a chance to sit back and reflect on what we've just done. We talk about it and we discuss what the next steps are beyond that. And that's how you're going to continuously improve and get better as an investor.
Yeah, observing what worked and what didn't is only going to further refine your journey. But great, we've looked back on the journey so far. The next step is review.
Yeah, so review really is when we're looking a little bit longer down the track. So this is not something that happens straight after. So the observe section in the roadmap happens after we've taken action. The review process could happen 3, 6, 12 months after the actual investment's taken place, where we're going to review the progress of the portfolio. We're going to review how the numbers are looking, how your tax situation's looking, what your loans look like. And this is an ongoing process. This is not a one-time thing. So the review process might happen 3, 4, 5, 6, many times after we've taken action and observed what happened. So the review process is an ongoing thing, and we need to make sure that we are constantly reviewing the numbers, reviewing interest rates, reviewing your work situation, reviewing your emotions, how you're feeling, what's happening in life, and of course, reviewing the whole situation, really.
And then the last step is repeat, the most exciting step.
That's it. The last one is relatively self-explanatory, really, is you repeat, go through the whole process again. So we go back to the start, we realign where we're at. So at the start, we are aligning. At this point, we are realigning. And we go back to discuss what you've learned, realign how your money habits have changed, and we discuss how you've adapted to becoming a professional investor. And again, some of these things do take time. So this whole roadmap process could all happen within a 3-month period for some people. And for others, it might take a year or 2 to go through this entire process one time. The repeat process will always come down to your own personal financial situation and whether you're able to purchase another property sooner rather than later. But the process really for everybody is going to be a little bit different as far as timing is concerned, but the actual roadmap process itself isn't going to change.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, there you have it. That is our roadmap to success. If you would like to know any more about this, you can actually go to our website and download a free Proven Strategies guide, which will give you a more in-depth description of everything we've talked about today. If you would like to know any more about us at the Property Mentors, you can go to our website and visit our blog, which is linked in our show notes, along with all of our socials. Luke's new book, Property Fit, is also now available for purchase, which you can also find at the website propertyfitbook.com.au. We'll be back in your ears next week when we talk about alternative investment strategies. Until then, thank you so much for listening. And Luke, thank you.
Thanks, Phoebe.